Good day. A few weeks ago, President Biden of the United States announced a decision by the US government to withdraw the remaining US troops who are currently stationed in Afghanistan, ending a US military presence in Afghanistan that has been ongoing for 20 years. I would add that since that announcement, the number of US troops in Afghanistan, far from falling, has actually increased. We are told that the reason for that is that more troops are needed to cover the withdrawal of the others and to facilitate the withdrawal and to make it effective. Well, I presume that is the case, but obviously the situation is finely balanced and we need to watch the situation in Afghanistan closely. I make the latter point especially in light of an ongoing offensive that the Taliban has launched following 1st May 2021, which was supposed to be the date that the Trump administration said would be the date by which all US forces would have left Afghanistan. Donald Trump, while he was still president, wanted to pull the troops out of Afghanistan by 1st May 2021. The Taliban agreed to observe a essential ceasefire up to that date. The Biden administration dithered, failed to meet the 1st May 2021 date, but has now said it will withdraw the troops, the American troops by September. The Taliban, however, have refused to honour, or rather to continue the ceasefire beyond 1st May 2021, and they're now undertaking a renewed offensive. And that offensive appears to be having some effect. We learned that about a week ago, the Taliban were able to capture and hold for a short time the important town of Baghlan, which is to the north of Kabul. Baghlan has since apparently been recaptured by Afghan government troops sent from Kabul, but its brief capture by the Taliban is ominous news. Simultaneously, the Taliban appears to be increasing pressure on the provincial capital of Helmand province, and it has also pushed hard against another important town in Afghanistan, Ghazni, which is located to the south of Kabul. The intention seems to be to roll up the government presence in the Afghan countryside. Up to now, the Afghan government appears to have a presence in only a third of Afghan villages, and to encircle Kabul from the north and the south, cutting off the road links to that city and placing it effectively under siege. Should that happen, it is likely that the government in Kabul will swiftly collapse. Now, in face of all of this, in face of all these Taliban moves, there must be very strong temptation, indeed in renewed pressure in some quarters in Washington to go back on the withdrawal announcement and to keep the US troops in Kabul, those troops being the only guarantee the Afghan government has of its survival for the time being. I'm going to say straight away that if that happens, if the Biden-Harris administration succumbs to that pressure, then that would be a serious mistake. If it is indeed the case, as appears, that the Afghan military is in no position to withstand the Taliban across the countryside of Afghanistan, and that Kabul will shortly be encircled without US help, then the reality must be that the United States must consider the effectiveness of its massive investment in that country since it first moved in there in 2001. The United States has now been present in Afghanistan for 20 years. Over 2,000 American troops have died there. At times, the combined US-NATO military presence in Afghanistan has numbered around 100,000, comparable, by the way, to the number of Soviet troops in Afghanistan at the peak of the Soviet intervention there in the 1980s. In addition, the United States has poured into Afghanistan something like $1 trillion of reconstruction aid, and some people put that much higher. If after such a vast commitment of men, machines, and resources, the United States has failed to create a stable government in Kabul and strong armed forces, strong Afghan armed forces, then realistically it never will. Keeping US troops in Afghanistan in order to stave off an Afghan collapse over the next few weeks or months after the US withdraws is tantamount to saying that the United States will never withdraw from Afghanistan. Its troops will in effect be besieged there because ultimately this is a war which it is now clear the United States cannot win. It would be a further unending commitment of US resources to a war which cannot be won and which looks like it will go on indefinitely. If the United States had a winning formula for this war in Afghanistan, it would surely have found it by now. Pulling out of Afghanistan at this time is the only sensible and realistic step that can be taken. Yes, it will be a humiliation for the United States. Yes, it will damage the United States' prestige in Central Asia and in the region. But ultimately, maintaining an indefinite commitment that is so costly in terms of funding and resources to no useful purpose is an exercise in futility. The sooner the United States pulls out of Afghanistan and leaves that unhappy country to its own devices, the better for both itself and Afghanistan that will be. The United States can then bring this unhappy episode to a close and concentrate on other things, whilst Afghanistan, for its part, will perhaps hopefully begin the long and arduous task of reconstituting its society and regaining some measure of peace, which it lost when the United States first began to support Mujahideen fighters fighting the then Afghan government in Kabul way back at the end of the 1970s. That's all I'm going to say about this topic now. I say that because I know that there are some people in Washington who are indeed calling for a rethink of the withdrawal. I hope those forced counsels do not prevail. Thank you for joining me for this program. Please check us out on other programs, both on this channel and on our other channel, our main channel, The Duran, where I do programs with my colleague and friend, Alex Christoforou. Please also check us out on our new platforms, Odyssey, Locals, and SuperTube. You'll find links under this video. Please also support us to the extent that you can via PayPal, Patreon, and Subscribestar. And remember, we accept donations in all currencies, including the new electronic ones. And also, please don't forget to check out our Discord server and our shop, where you'll find amazing things like magic mugs, hats, hoodies, stickers, sweatshirts, and all the rest. And thank you for joining me for this video, and I hope you will join me in future videos, both on this channel and on our other channels and on our other platforms. And have a wonderful day until then.